All right. Today we're going to talk about how you can make money while traveling the world with filmmaking. And the whole reason we're bringing this video out is we were just in Washington, D.C. for a week. And I realized that over my career filmmaking and doing photography, I've been able to travel to some really cool places. And I know that people really love filmmaking in different places around the world. But I thought I'd share 7 different tips on how you can actually travel the world using your filmmaking or photography skills. Let's start with tip number 1, which is to work with companies that have a national or even global presence. Our recent trip to Washington, D.C. is working with a company that we've worked with for about 5 or 6 years now. And they do conferences all around the world. Now, before the pandemic, we used to have 2 conferences that we would go to each and every year. In December, we would go to Las Vegas, and in June, we would go up to San Francisco. Those were perfect for us being in San Diego because we could drive to both of them and lug all the gear we needed without having to hop onto a plane. Another one of my clients that falls into this category of a global or national presence is one that does commercial construction work across the United States and even abroad. So we did recruiting videos with them where they not only needed people to join the company, but they needed them to move to specific areas. So we got to go to New York, San Francisco, Los Angeles, and here in San Diego, filming videos that were almost half tourism, half recruiting. And so that was another one where, because they have a national presence, they needed us to go to different cities. And for me, it was a blast to be able to go to some cities that I'd never been to before. Tip number 2 is be willing and make your desires known. I'm gonna give an example from actually before I started this business. So I actually went to school studying engineering. And in my last year of college, I was doing an engineering internship for a nuclear power plant. We were working on stuff, honestly, that was pretty boring for me. But one of the cool things is I knew that my direct boss had different business trips out to Chicago. And they had a testing facility there. And so I brought up to him, hey, I'd love to go to Chicago with you if you have one of these trips. I think it'd be great for me to learn, and I'd love to just experience it. They typically hadn't sent interns out there, but because I made my will known that I'd actually want to do that, it opened up that opportunity for me. That's happened other times in my video production business as well, because I've just made it known that I want to go do these different experiences. Tip number 3, offer discounts. Here's one that kind of pairs off of the last one, where you make your will known about something you want to do. Sometimes you need to be willing to offer discounts to the client so that they will do that project, because travel costs can already make it more expensive. So sometimes if you just want to get the travel experience and are less worried about how much money you're making for the project, offering a discount can help. So one of our clients, Kronos, makes putters, and a big part of their business is actually out in Japan. I've always wanted to travel internationally, and other than Canada and Mexico, I really haven't had the chance to do it. I brought up the idea to my buddy Philip about going to Japan and telling the story of how some of the design aesthetics for his putters have come from Japanese culture and bring that to the American market. And so I pitched this idea, and normally for our video production company, when we go travel, our day rate is quite a bit more expensive than if we're filming locally. Instead of charging our normal rate, which probably would have been 7 full days of production at a higher travel rate, we only charged 3 normal days of video production. And so the reason I did this is because I'd always wanted to travel there. And for me, adding this to my portfolio and showing that I'm a company that not only films local, but has been traveled all the way across to Japan, it says a lot to potential customers. And also, I just wanted to experience the culture and go somewhere new. Tip number 4 is come up with great ideas. When you have clients that you work with, especially on a consistent basis, coming up with new ideas for them that could include travel can be a great way for you to actually go and do that. So for example, we've offered this idea. We haven't done this travel yet, but one of our clients, Vessel, makes golf bags, and they make a lot of high-end luxury bags. And their color and aesthetic would work really well filming in Iceland. It would set their bags apart. It wouldn't just be a golf bag on a golf course. It puts it in an environment that is very aspirational and very unique, but it also works with their color schemes because they love blacks and whites, and Iceland has a lot of those black sands or the white snow. So if you offer out an idea and the timing is right for your client, it may open up the opportunity to create some new travel jobs. Tip number 5 is create a specific niche for your business. When you have a very specific niche for your business, it makes you an expert in the field that you're in. And when you're an expert, more people and companies will actually have you travel to them versus if you're just someone who does everything. Because there's lots of people in their location that do everything, but having people who only know their industry are very valuable to them. Tip number 6 is to reach out to companies in the area that you actually want to travel. So let's say you want to go to a place like New York City or Charleston, South Carolina, or Hawaii. Whatever the area may be, think of places that actually have businesses who would need video in that area. Now, if you're gonna reach out to these companies, they're probably not gonna wanna pay for your travel expenses, but if you wanna use this to expand your portfolio and show that you've filmed in other places, it's okay to bring a little less money in to be able to do that travel. And for some people, it might even be worth doing a, let's go do this work for one customer. It basically washes out what the travel expenses are, but you end up having a week trip to, say, New York. And that is worth it to you. So you got to think through what those trade-offs are, but you could reach out to specific companies in those areas so that you can actually go and travel to new places. And our last tip, tip number 7, make money on the back end and film stock footage or stock photos. If you run your own business, travel, as long as it's for business, is a write-off. Now that doesn't mean it's free money, but if you have some extra money and you can plan on the long term or the long game, you can go to a place you'd like to go. Let's say it's Iceland or New Zealand or Australia, whatever the place may be, and try to think through what is footage, stock footage or stock photography that people would need for that area. Maybe it's stuff, if you research that area, what footage haven't you seen on stock websites? You go out, spend a week, go create it, go have experiences, and then put that on stock footage sites to sell later. This isn't a tip that I recommend if you're in dire need of money or if you're in a position where cash is tight. If your business is kind of cash rich or in a position where you can take risks, this could be a good fit, but if you've never done stock footage before, you've never tested the market, don't go out there expecting to make your money back or making extra money because it's likely not gonna happen. Traveling the world can not only be exciting, but can be a great way to grow your business. You need to make sure that you think through, like I said in the last point, strategically how to do it in a way that benefits your company. And also you need to think long-term. So let's say you're 22 years old and you don't have kids yet. What would you want to do 6 years, 10 years, 15 years from now when it comes to your family? If you have a bunch of kids at that point, do you want to have a business where you are required to travel 1 week a month? If you don't, build a company that is more rooted in your hometown so that you are more settled when it comes to later in life. I hope that these tips are helpful for you as you figure out how you can start traveling more and make it a part of your filmmaking business. If you're just getting your business started though, we did create a video over here about how to get a video production company started. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.